everybody, Tammy Mauld here in Vicenza, Italy. We're still on the COVID-19 quarantine and it is Easter Monday. I'm hoping that you all had a great Easter weekend. We definitely had some time to reflect on what's really important to us, and I'm sure you, as well as myself, look forward to next year being able to be with people, going to church services, having our Easter egg hunts, all the things that we were used to, having some of those things back in place again. I sometimes think we forget what's important to us until it's taken away. So, all in all, it's been a great weekend for me, and we're having beautiful weather here. So, I'm real excited to just practice yoga with each of you today. Before we get started, the only prop we'll need is a strap, which could be an old belt, or I'm using a tie here today. And if you have a yoga strap, fabulous. And I also have a blanket, and I have rolled it up. I like to use this in the beginning of my practice and at the end of the practice. So if you want to get those things, get those, and then you can restart the video. Today we're going to start with a pranayama called Nadi Shodham. And we have done this pranayama before, breath work. So for those of you who are new, we start with our right hand, and we have our ring finger and pinky finger up and the thumb out. And we are going to start with taking the thumb to block our right nostril, and we are going to inhale and exhale out of the left nostril. And we like to do this to a 1-to-2 ratio. So since we're just getting started, we'll do a little less than that. We're going to inhale to the count of 4, exhaling to the count of 6. And then as you progress with this, you could do like inhaling to 4, exhaling to 8. And so we're going to start with doing it 3 times on the left, and then we will switch and do it on the right. So let's begin. Inhaling for 4. And exhaling to 6. Let's try that 2 more times. Okay, now we're going to take the ring finger and pinky finger, and block the left nostril, and try the same process on our right. And do that for 3 times on the right. Inhaling for 4, exhaling for 6. Okay, if you want to keep doing it 3 times on each side, one more round, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this pranayama. This is a great breath practice for anybody. Some breath practices, if you have high blood pressure and things, we don't expect you to participate. But this one is good for everybody, and it infuses the body with O2. It clears and releases toxins. It reduces stress and anxiety, and it helps balance your hormones, which also helps your nervous system and respiratory system. So in these stressful times, this is a great practice. And you can practice this anytime. I like to do it in the mornings and then sometimes in the evenings, because it kind of gets me started in the mornings, so I can think clearly, and then in the evenings it kind of calms us down. So it's a great practice. So, okay. Now, if you are finished with your 3 rounds again on each side, we will prepare for our morning mantra. So I'm going to lie down on my back. You can stay seated in easy pose. Just get comfortable, and we're going to set our intention at this time. Just continuing with nice breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. And at this time, let's set our intention for our practice. And an intention can be a word, a prayer, mantra, something you want to bring into your life, or something you want to send out. So at this time, let's think about our mantras and our intentions, our prayers, whatever it is for you. When you have sealed your intention, let's do an audible exhale from the mouth. If you're in easy pose, just stay there. And if you're lying down, let's come up to easy pose as we start our warm-up. Okay, let's just start with inhaling and looking to the right. Exhale. Inhale, center, and exhale, left. Keeping all the body straight so you can really feel that stretch. Okay, now let's go up, look upward, and down. Inhale up, and exhale down. Let's take our hands and place them on our shoulders and do a few shoulder circles, meeting the elbows in and out. Remembering to breathe. Okay, let's reverse the circles. To staff pose. Just placing our feet right out in front of us and getting ourselves all nice and straight. And we're going to work on our ankles and our toes. So just flex and point and flex, just the toes only. Just a few times. Okay, now let's do the whole feet. And you can keep your hands here or place them, whatever's comfortable for you. Point, flex. Point, flex. Point, flex. Point, and flex. Okay, let's do some circles with them. And remember, if we do circles one way, to do them the other. Inhale our hands up and let's bend forward. And just keeping ourselves nice and straight. And then once we meet our edge, we can kind of drop our heads and round our back. into a butterfly. Bringing our feet together, and your butterfly may be out here and it may be all the way in. Whatever's comfortable for you. Keeping our backs nice and straight. Remember, as if we have an invisible line running right up through our bodies, keeping us nice and straight, right out the crown of our head. And let's just fly our butterflies here. Let's take that right arm down to our side behind our hip and place it on the mat. And place the left hand on our right knee and twist. Peering over our right shoulder. And let's inhale back up. And let's repeat that on the left side, taking the left hand down behind our hip, our right hand on our left knee, and turning over our left shoulder. Taking a few breaths here. Make our way to tabletop. And tabletop, our hips and knees should be in a line, and then back to the ankle. And our hands are spread wide and ground into the mat with the wrist, elbow, and shoulder all in alignment so that the weight is evenly distributed. Your toes can either be flat or tucked, whatever is best for you. Okay. Now we're going to start with a few cat-cows. So let's arch our back and raising our chin up to the sky. Really feeling it through here. That's on the inhale. And then on the exhale, let's round the back into cat. Let's do a few more of those at your own pace. Inhale, cow, and exhale, cat. Okay, now we're going to add tiger to this. Since tigers are so popular right now, we'll add the tiger pose to our practice. So we are going to inhale and bring our knee in and as if we're meeting it to our nose or forehead. And then when we exhale, we're going to kick it back up and arch the back as we did in cow. So let's go like we're in cat. And then cow. Okay, let's do that a few more times. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Remembering to distribute your weight evenly, keeping the hands spread wide. Inhale. Now let's try 5 of those on our left. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Okay, bring that knee back down. Now we're going to do a little bit of a tiger flow, and we're going to do the inhale and the exhale as we did, and then we're going to incorporate the dog in the fire hydrant, then back and down. So it'll look something like this. Inhale, exhale. Up and down. Okay, now let's do 5 of these on each side, starting with the right. Inhale, exhale. Dog. And down. Inhale, exhale. Dog. Up. And 2. Inhale. And 3. Inhale, exhale. Dog. Up. And 4. One more on this side. Inhale, exhale. Dog. Up. And down. Okay, great job. Now we got to do 5 of those on the left. So we will start with inhale, exhale. Dog. And try to keep your hips level when you're doing this, the dog in the fire hydrant. Try not to shoot this leg out. Just try to keep everything in alignment. Up and down. Okay, second one. Inhale. 3. 4. And 5. And down. Okay, let's put our big toes together and knees out and just kind of come back into child's pose. Just kind of touching the head to the mat and feeling the stretch. On this, if you cannot get your head to the mat or your buttocks to your heels, just as far back as is comfortable. And if you do have like a blanket, you can use that if you need it back here for support. And you can also use it for your forehead if you need it. And as I've shown you before, if you have shoulder issues, you can always do prayer hands. And you can even bring your hands all the way back. Child's pose is my favorite pose because it is truly coming down, clearing your mind, and actually coming back to your intention and just being there with yourself. So anytime that you're in a yoga practice and something seems like it's getting too difficult, just go to child's pose and take a few breaths. Coming back to your breath and coming back to your intention. Okay, let's come back up to our tabletop, our neutral position, and we're going to do a spinal balance. So we're going to start with inhaling our right arm forward and our left leg back. Trying to do a nice straight line. Keeping everything in alignment. And just take a few breaths here. Back. Now let's try that on the left. Inhaling the left arm forward and the right leg back. Really feeling that stretch and engage the glutes so you can really feel it in there. And evenly distributing your weight between the arm and the leg that is on the ground. Now we're going to try something with Inhaling the right arm forward, the left leg back. And we're going to meet our elbow and knee under our stomachs on the exhale. And then back on the inhale. So let's do this 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Back out and drop. Okay, now let's try that on the left. Inhaling the left arm and the right leg. And meeting. And out. And meeting. And out. 2 more. And last one. And drop it down. Big toes together, knees out wide, and child's pose. Okay, you guys are doing great. Let's come back up to our tabletop and tuck our toes. And let's go up into our first down dog of the day. And in down dog, if you can touch your heels to the mat, great. If you're not there, no big deal. Remember, this is your practice. Okay, let's just walk our dogs a little bit. Just getting used to it. Picking the heels up. Maybe coming up on the toes. Coming down to one side. Up. In the middle. Up and to the left. Just getting the feel of the dog. Okay, and feet should be hips width apart and your hands ground in. And one way to always check your dog is to come forward. And if you have to readjust, do that at this time when you're in plank. And then you just come back into down dog. Okay, let's inhale our right leg up and just keep the hips squared. And let's inhale forward to plank. Okay, and back. And release that right leg down. Just take a few breaths here. Okay, now let's inhale our left leg up and just keep a squared hip. 3-legged dog. And let's go forward into plank again. And as I always say, if you don't have the upper arm strength, just drop your knee. This is something that's going to help you build your arm strength. Okay, inhale back. And pedal it. Just pedal it. Okay. Now we're going to inhale forward to plank. And we're going to drop our knees, our chest and our chin to the mat. And just take a few breaths here, just like this. Keeping this all elevated. And our hands are in close to our chest. Now we're going to scoop forward and up into a cobra. Now we're going to tuck our toes and come back into our down dog. Okay, let's try that again. Inhale forward to plank. And we're going to drop our knees, chest, and chin. Ashtanga Namarasana. And then we're going to scoop forward into Cobra. And in Cobra, if this is too much right now, you can, when you scoot forward, you can just put your hands here. And then we're going to tuck our toes and go back into our down dog. Just take a few breaths here in our down dog. Okay, let's do 2 more flows that like this that we just learned. So we're gonna go forward into our plank, dropping knees, chest, and chin, and scooping forward to cobra, and tucking our toes and back. Inhale forward to plank, dropping knees, chest, and chin, and scooping forward, tucking toes, and up. Okay, let's drop our knees, bringing our big toes together, and coming into child's pose. Okay, let's come back up, tucking our toes, and we're going to go back into our down dog. And we're going to inhale forward to plank. And now we're going to work on side plank. So first, get your plank really steady. And again, if you need to have your knees down, fabulous, no problem. So I'm going to show you both with knees down and knees up. So if your knees are up, we're just going to roll our feet to the left, and we're going to raise the right. So if your knees are down, you're just going to roll them over like this, peering up into the heavens. And you can lift your foot. And for those that are doing the full extension, you can lift your foot. I'm just going to hold this for a few breaths. And remember, okay, now let's come back into our plank. And now we're going to roll it using our right hand to stabilize. And just roll your heels over and lift the left. And remember, there's always this version. And you can lift your outer leg. Back, and let's go back to our down dog. Okay, now we're going to do our hip movement with our feet, and you can do a micro bend if you need to, but what we're doing is lifting from our hip, and we're going to do the baby steps all the way up to between our hands. And when we reach the top of our mat, in front of our hands, let's just let everything fall. You may grab opposite elbows. Just let all of this relax. Okay, now let's place our hands down on the mat and step back or jump, whatever's best for you, back into your plank. And now we're going to do our flow again that we were doing. So we're going to take knees, chest and chin, cobra, tuck the toes, and down dog. Go forward to plank, knees, chest and chin, cobra, tuck the toes, and back. Let's do 2 more of these. Inhale forward, knees, chest and chin, up. And 1 more. chest and chin. Over. And okay, now let's step up to the front of the mat again. And this time you can jump or just step and into our forward fold. This time on your forward fold, if your hands reach the mat, fabulous. I like to put mine behind my legs. And then we're going to go to half lift. And this is putting your hands on the mat and looking forward. Like right here. And back to forward fold. And let's do a micro bend in the knee. And slowly make our way up. Rolling our shoulders back. Great. Okay, now we're going to do a standing posture, and we're going to work on tree again, but we've worked on this in a few other videos. If you need, like if you get a little off balance, just get against a wall. Paul the wall is your friend. At my yoga studio where I began in Clarksville, Tennessee, they would always say, Paul the wall is your friend. So that's kind of stuck with me. But okay, get near your wall, or if you can want to try it, we fall out, oh well, you know, no big deal. Okay, we're going to start with our right. So let's take our right foot out and bring it in. And we're going to place it either on the inside of the calf or the inside of the thigh. Don't place it on the knee. We don't want to lead to any kind of a knee injury. And then we're going to bring our hands to heart center. And once you have your balance, you can raise your hands. A great way to get your balance is to set your eyes on a non-moving focal point. At this time you can come back to your intention, coming back to your breath. And you may want to sway your tree a little bit. Bring our foot forward, not to the ground. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me. Bring our foot forward. And now we're going to take that foot back. And we're going to bring our hands forward to warrior three. Shake it out. Okay, I'm going to grab a quick drink and then we'll do that on our left. Okay. All right, let's take our left foot out and bring it into our ankle. And if this is your spot, great, stay right here. If you want to raise it up a little bit, or if you want to bring it all the way up. Remember, try to just keep this open, keep everything squared and in alignment. Hands to heart center. Let's get our focus and our control. Really grounding that right foot into the mat. And raise your tree. Sway their tree on this side. Okay, bring your hands to heart center and our foot out. And I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. And now Now we're going to shoot that leg back. Forward. Trying to keep your hips aligned, squared. Really grinding that right foot down into the mat. Down. Okay, let's shake that out. Okay, now let's make our way down to the mat and get your strap or your tie or whatever it is that you have. And we're gonna lay all the way back. Oh man, this feels good. Maybe we'll just go straight to Shavasana. No. Okay, let's put our tie or our strap on both feet. And bring them up to a 90-degree angle and just rest your elbows on the ground holding your strap. Okay. Now let's lower our feet very slowly, like 10% at a time, feeling that small of your back against the mat. And we're going to bring it all the way down to about 10% above the floor, but we're not going to touch the floor. And if you can, try to keep the elbows on the mat and the small of your back on the mat. Take a few breaths here. Okay, now let's slowly, just as slowly as we brought them down, let's bring them back up that slowly. Okay, let's try that again. Lowering them down, very, very slowly. And holding them right above the mat. You should really be feeling this in your abs. Keeping the small of your back on the mat, your elbows on the mat. Okay, let's bring them back up. And let's bring our knees in for a minute. Oh, great. Maybe rock them a little bit in circles. Whatever's good for you. Just relieve your lower back. Okay. Now, let's bring our feet back up. And let's take our right foot out and lay it flat on the mat. Bring our elbows again back down to the mat. And let's take the strap or tie, whatever you have, into your left hand, laying your right arm out. Straight out like a T, half a T. And we're going to just let this left leg fall out. Just however far out it goes, just let it fall. It may reach the mat, maybe not. Make sure to keep your right shoulder on the mat and your right hip and leg on the mat. And we're going to look over our right arm. And just let that leg really feel a good stretch. You can kind of pull a little bit to kind of pulsate it up if that feels good for you. Okay, let's bring it back up. And now let's take it into our right hand, taking our left hand out into the T formation. And we're going to look over our left side and let the leg fall to the right. Remember, keeping your shoulder, left shoulder on the mat. Let's bring it back. Putting both feet in, and let's take the left leg out and bring it down to the mat. And bringing both straps into your right. And taking the left hand out, the arm out into like a T formation. And we're going to look over to our left as we let the right leg just fall where it wants to. Remember keeping our shoulders on the mat and our left leg and hip on the mat. And if it's in your practice, you can kind of pulsate, pulling, tugging on the strap lightly. Really feel that stretch in through your inner thigh. Okay, let's bring it back up and take the straps in our left hand, bringing the right arm out, and just let it fall to the left and looking over our right shoulder, keeping both shoulders on the mat. Let's bring it back up and remove your strap, bringing both knees into your chest. And just really, maybe touching your forehead or your nose to your knee. Just kind of rolling around a little bit, doing some circles. Remember, if you go one way, do the other. Maybe a happy baby is in your practice, where you bring your legs out to 90 degrees, taking our hands, grabbing the outsides of our feet. And as we push to the heavens with our feet, we pull with our hands and just get a nice stretch. And you can rock the baby. I've also heard this pose named bed bug. I don't know. Never really seen a bed bug, so I'm just going to go with happy baby. Okay. Now, if there's anything else that your body needs to counterpose with everything we've been doing to counteract for your muscles, please feel free to do that at this time. And if you are ready, we are going to prepare for Savasana. And I like to take a blanket and roll it up and place it under my knees. And we just lie back, raise up and tuck your shoulder blades. Remember, grounding, palms down, receiving, palms up. Coming back to our breath, coming back to our intention. Realizing we just gave this time for ourselves and we are worthy. We deserve it. This is such a beautiful time in the world. It's amazing that something has occurred to actually make the earth stand still and give each of us the opportunity to look at ourselves, to actually be present for ourselves. We've spent our whole lives working for others, whether it's becoming a wife or a husband, or taking care of children, being a mother or a father, taking care of our parents, working the job, being there for the public. All of these things take precedence over just looking within and loving ourselves. This is your time to think about you. Let's come back and start wiggling maybe your toes or your fingers. Maybe bringing your arms overhead into a big full body stretch. Turning to one side into a fetal position with your bottom arm as your pillow and your top arm over your chest, placing that hand on the mat. Just take a few breaths here. Okay, let's make our way up into seated. And hopefully we have all of our body feels fabulous, our energy's flowing, and you will take what your intention is off the mat and follow it throughout the day and throughout the week. So let's end with taking our hands out really big and grabbing the chi, bringing it in, grabbing the sun's energy, bringing it into us. One more, and let's bring it in. Hands to heart center. It has been my pleasure to guide you today through your practice. And I hope that each of you has a lovely, lovely week as we continue this spring season, seeing all the beautiful flowers and trees and everything coming to life. Just keep loving and living. Namaste.